Hello, my name is Anthony Wall. I graduated from Central Connecticut State University with a double major in English arts and with a degree in communications. And I took some Arabic. It got connected to a story I didn't want to make a career about, but I want to defend the right to tell, which ruined my career so far and overall, which was boxing. So what is blocked in my ability to communicate my story is a method of evidence fabrications, which demonstrably is a nature of organized crime. In other words, I'm not a lawyer. I am not a police form. I am not a criminal. I'm an English. I'm going to show you how English was revealed to teach ancient sciences together actively as one body. We have all cells and different organs, and they share one positive identity. And this is a demonstration to us actively of space nature's only unchanging positive identity. We are space nature. There's an ancient there's ancient value of education that was tactically re-engineered. There are proofs of this. And what's obfuscating connection of these proofs are facts treatments that are being forced as top-down lies and convictions. So we have some police and we have some court people involved with gangs and stuff like that through time, and they threaten online rapes and stuff like that. But they have all, but but they pretend they don't know about it because of the way online software police are, and we're involved. For example, with my online proofs, is trying to report things about them in different spaces. But there was because there was proofs of there be multiple agencies involved. Now I never had conversations with anybody about this stuff. I never said anything about this except for online. Because when I tried to report it to the police physically, they forced me into a hospital. I had no conversation with the doctors. They forged the Dr. Shamsi Ali's name. They attached me to fake conversations with some family from my town. I recognized the face of one of them, of a Brendan Leahy. I never had a conversation with in my life. They attached me to fake conversations. The other family there, they made threats against me, against my kids, and in relationship to other online threats and slanders and they were posting fake legal cases, pretended to be me with some guy with my name for years online, uh, and all kinds of confessions related to this. I went to report the online rape and mailbox shifting stuff, and the reason they blocked me from reporting it with admitted falsified police reports, and they wrote other in acquired databases. They said that a court investigator they implied told them to do that, and that was involved with the court side of the rape threats too first, and then they said they were dismissing it because of that, and then they referred to it. They said they didn't dismiss it. It was a nollie, and they did all kinds of. So they had all kinds of shifting narratives and police reports for the same arrest, and I didn't get to see one of them. But I know I just saw that heard the narratives tied to the same charge, or the same charge, but with different narratives. They're all admitted lies. You know what I mean? They also attached me. There was a detective Smudo, I believe is his name. Said he was in conversations with me that were never were, and he said I was in a hospital that I was never in. They push people in the hospital. Then they attach them to what they need for the maintenance of their street roles with a nature of organized crime that evolves. The stewards of the branches affected as self-defense natures in relationship to lie progressions. For example, when I was a kid. No, I never been real close to my sister since I was a kid because they play these games like this, and it's connected too with confessions to with drug stuff and the healthcare. And one guy with Hartford Hospital name dropped the name D. Simone, which that's associated with a game where they played with a telephone when years back. I don't even know that. I mean, I remember them from years back. In other words, they spread rumors about me to my own family through time. And then when they have police in forums together ask questions about stuff like that, they're asking it in relationship to narratives that they're in the maintenance of in people's minds that aren't even real. And they're using, like, for example, they know I have relatives involved with different jobs. They're not supposed to say things, so they weave people having to tell secrets. Then they ask the question, and then people don't want to talk about these things. They want to just let them go. You know what I mean? So what they do, then they start making grandiose allegations against people, and then most people have to describe this making grandiose allegations. But I didn't make grandiose. I didn't say anything. These people expected me. I want to talk about facts. I don't use lies and delusions like these people. They have physical delusions only let through their media and stuff like that because they're being defense natures in relationship to physical delusions about business and about freedom and about the American Constitution. We know that business it cannot the Constitution cannot be defended as a business. We learn nothing from our impositions of our founding. We have our founders uh, forced political theater, forced negotiations with terrorism is not understood and forced glorified. We have that same thing. England does the same thing to their kings and queens because no one understands. Everyone shares the guise of the concept of education. With it, our legal nature's ill and interbranch and internation. The species has been a negative value nature progression since ancient times, since the corruption of ancient education. That's why English is still obfuscated. It's being taught wrong. And I'll show proofs. As some I've mentioned in some of the other videos, I hope you all will subscribe to my YouTube channel. Because we're going to have to change the nature faster than we're changing it. And the reason everyone is lost to treatments of logic and law and of critical things is because of the nature of the roles with interscience obfuscations of their own sciences. So this is not only going to reveal English obfuscations of English. The way the English is revealed to teach the sciences working as one body, sharing one positive identity and act. This is even ancient English is used to teach the perfect algorithm for computers. This is about a computer is a trinity. It is a hardware, it is a software in communications with and as the hardware, and and with and as it in relationship to the internet. And so we are the hardware of the computer we're using. This is a trinity. So there's three types of software programming that are important. The one with the browser, the one with the software that communicates with the hardware, and the one that that communicates with the software both ways. This is the trinity because this is the nature of existence. We can't change the nature of this. Unchanging positive identity. Space nature's positive identity is beyond our control. Computer is space nature's positive identity. So I can teach computers here, even though I didn't learn about computers. You know what I'm saying? And we can insource means to grow together because we have the religion. Inherent to religion is this cause, religion. There is one identity shared by all legions, and then they are as one body, all legions come together, nations. Ratiocination. We are correlation nature as species beyond our control, horizontally and vertically in all ways. This is this is what the sciences will reveal to teach. So what I'm going to talk about the nature of organized the natives understand it in relationship to their own forsaken rights, which there are proofs of the existence of, and these being with, and beyond just being with, and that is the rights of the lands and water, forsaken, demonstrably proves, and how, and and why, which is for a method apart with this, left unchallenged and unrealized by So what they do through time between police forms, there's notions about what business is, and and this is why this is making problems with the internet and the nature of the news and stuff like that, because now it's not going to be more. We need a news agency too. We should have a news agency on Sunday owned by healthcare, owned by just to stand there, yeah, as value part, so we understand we have the means that no one believes in, because everyone has indifference that was forced. We must understand our original impositions, and the way to counter them are not with war, we're not with physics, is with metaphysics. When we understand that we are one body as a species, as a nature of consciousness, as a body of itself, that identity is forcing our identity made and to be permanently remembered as positive or negative value nature. We have only memory because we're in demonstration of this. Because we're either the progression of unchanging positive value here, helping it have more value, which is identity, and more nature. Otherwise, negative value nature is forced from here. Leith of Hades. And then this remains progressively so. Hades. That's where the term Leith of Hades and Hades came from, pantheism. And so the Old Testament is demonstrably about pantheism. So religious science is obfuscated as well as English science. And these convictions are shared with other sciences, for example. And for example, the predicate is a space value identity in English grammar. It's not it's the verb can be it, because a verb, when it's standing alone, it's a value nature, and it's a predicate, because unchanging positive beyond omega's control nature of omega, the verb. And we'll get to this because this is mixed with theory, but there's proofs of it. The alphabet, this is about alpha and the omega. Alpha is the root of the word alphabet. A stands for alpha, but it also stands for A in Allah. It's alpha because we have a radical relationship to it. We can either be it within its range and be positive, unchanging positive nature, then it causes positive nature. It connects with the rest of it, so that causes evolution. Because what is beyond our control is in control of itself, but we're not letting it be in control of itself because we're in ulterior value nature systems. This is what the Old Testament is referring to with the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It's about either there's only one active positive identity, space nature identity and demonstration to us, and that's as actively. So it's just like a system. You know what I'm saying? It's a value nature system, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil is anything other, because that's the only value nature system that, because we share one positive identity, because there's only one positive nature in demonstration to ourselves, because the identity is a value. Every science, real science, used to know demonstrably that Science has to understand identity. Each value is a distinct identity. And this is because the only unchanging identity is a demonstration to us, not as a person, but as unchanging positive. Positive's nature. So we have a positive nature of identity. We have a positive nature of a body because unchanging positive is a demonstration to us. In other words, the body's only semi-positive. If it gets hurt, we feel it's semi-negative, semi-positive. Inherent to it is means to correlation with is unchanging positive. So what I'm trying to talk about is interbranch families. They were like people I don't know. They went out of their way to make confessions to me growing up, and then they evolved this with them spreading rumors, not just through to other people, but through my family members, in ways through people they know, and then they just see because they saw I was in the person's presence, but then they have conversations behind people's back, and they're making there's the nature of organized crime with police forms recorded. What they do is narrate through time illusions and lies about people. They make grandiose lies and they convict them on them, put them in jail. They have a guy who was raping an unconscious girl in a dumpster, and they put him in for 6 months in jail. The police threaten rape over here, and they threaten with court police. They threaten online. And ERICKNERR on Facebook did that, and with the same with other accounts that were harassing us too, with David KNERR and other people I don't know, and then they have disgusting friends and girls and stuff like that. So they make you say personal things about strangers. What they do, they have strangers make confessions to me, like a guy named Enzo Vainza and his uncle, or and his cousin. They made all these confessions about their family members and police in front of them, and police too, and then who showed up right after they showed up, and then they left. But because they got scared because the guy said that he used to do drugs with them, and then they left, and there was drugs right on the table. Because I was gonna put it away, but then I knew I shouldn't hide it. I went to follow because they showed up with some girl, like these girls he shares that were living in our apartment. They kept begging to have stay, and then and she went to run with a. I don't know what she did. She went in one room. She didn't even know us. She runs in a thing when the cops show up right after they show up. Then they left. Then he made all these confessions about, semi-verified about a body dumping and about stuff with a club blue and a detective Dylan that other people made confessions to me about. Um, and this is in relationship to things that my neighbor said about connected to him in police fabrications and threats with the court. Again, not just through the ERICKNER, and there was a theme of a Confederate flag. There is a theme of a Confederate flag attached to them. See what they want to do. They want me to claim this prejudice, but it's much more complicated than that. It's not. They want me to claim prejudice with proofs that they put threats to me and brought a grammar school into it first. I'm not supposed to talk about something. I'm not going to mention the school, and they won't put anything in writing, and they demonstrated the recorded proofs that they put lies on police reports they won't let me see. So, I've been actively asking them for to speaking for the attorney general to get involved because you can't have police threatening people to kill and rape people online and messaging them, and then with other people online, and then offline too with bug spray, a gun, knife, families that have foreigners involved too scared to even talk about. In other words, they, if they put things in writing, then people will respond to it. But they won't put anything in writing because they want to blame everything on me and keep everyone shut up. Well, like, so then when the police come up and they pretend a narrative, when they're ignoring the facts, pretend they don't realize what the other cops lied about and how fraud these databases are, they're coming with serious aggressions. And like, they come to my house with the guns drawn late at night. They like looking like they're about to shoot. You know what I'm saying? For no reason. I never. These are threats, for so many threats to silence, because they did so many bad things. They get so many people involved with. This is the nature of organized crime, where they get so many people with their jobs and with lying to police involved, with police forms involved, lying to other police forms through time, and then they get stuck to the maintenance of narratives and live progressions. So they even had to use the media to pretend things that they could say, like fake. They told lies about me through the Connecticut media. They put me in prison too. I didn't even, and this was after they know they threatened me not to report the rape threats from the court. That wasn't the case before this, and they said we were going to have a dismissal because of the court's involvement with that. Threats inside, non-verbally too, from inside the court, relationship to the drug people connected to that court through time, and other evidence fabrication. Like I wrote a complaint against the Judge Smith when I was a kid involved with this court and with the related people involved now, adults who were and have peripheral involvements with federal criminals who were co-defendants of a former director of the FBI, Robert Lusky. That's has peripheral motivations, but I mean that's separate from my grievances and from them with the mail fraud against me and attaching me to fake conversations about 9/11 and about that. I never had conversations with them about that, and with people from my town who pretended me to fake conversations with the police forms involved with the live progressions. That's why it's so important to have things put on paper. They're not putting anything on paper. So we have a problem with evidence fabrication, causations, and methods of maintenance of it interbranch through time. This is why we have such evil acts through time, constant, and we're Oz to it. The reason is because it is leveraged through. This is being maintained. The causes of this consciously per a method that was with and before colonization. So we have facts treatments that have been preventing us from understanding the nature of how this stays connected to our complex litigation directors. Like, for example, with what is taught as referred to as mission creep with the world wars and with all wars. These are complex phenomena that people need words to get to counter, but we haven't had them. Just like Native Americans never found them, and not by accident, because even kings and queens never found the means to it, to understand it. You know what I mean? But because they had to justify their positions in relationship to forced retreat natures to all areas of the species. This is in relationship to negative value nature progressions in relationship to how Native Americans and how nations were forced, tactically denatured and forced to share criminal policing and clear criminal medical juxtapositions with courts and with treatments of logic, and then forcing that glorified, and then forcing us not to have speech long enough where they stole the conversation we were supposed to have using what was defended for us to understand by our founders. But we didn't. We lost that because we were forced to glorify takes on them that were pretended facts treatments because of physical evidence of what all we know. But they're denying the proofs that was with forced political theater upon them, and they're forcing everyone to conclude that money is the reason. and not to think. They're forcing physical delusions. The real reason is an organized crime nature that we never were let to the right words to describe. So they wanted us to blame it on things like prejudice and things like that. This is an evidence fabrication maintenance method to all areas. See, if someone has a job, and depending on the relationship, you could be any type of person. You're like just perfect, like a real nice guy, never going to challenge anyone, liar or anything. Just, you know what I mean? Just giving up. And still, if you're involved with conversations that are in your area, and see, things aren't going to go right for you because everyone's got physical delusions about what good is and what positive is, and so everyone's relying on other people's thoughts and delusions with convictions. We're not having proper facts treatments. So right in our faces, they punish and jail and kill like this with these methods to all areas. What's what's got our politicians like tools? Like there's connections I noted between a Montanari family in the political Facebook and policing of Facebook, the with their roles with evidence fabrications, with the implied by the confessions of the Faenza brothers in relationship to police in my town, in relationship to murder and things like with Greg Kyler shooting in a Club Blue by other people connected to them. So they have strangers make confessions to me, then a whole bunch of strangers make pretend they know me in relation to the people who make the confessions to me, and then they don't want to talk about it. They threaten me not to talk about it. So we have, and they don't put anything in writing. So we have problems. We need someone to respond to me in writing.